Here we are. Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me down. This is Gabriel Fente, the man, the myth. Yeah, honored to join. Welcome back to the Off-Ball Effect. This is the podcast where we talk about football's impact on wider society. Now, last week we were talking about football interacting with peace. This time around, we're talking about football interacting with crime. Today, we're talking about the death of Andrés Escobar, Colombian footballer. Now, let me give you a quote. We must be gallant in victory, but much more so in defeat. But please let the respect remain. A big hug for everyone, and to tell them that it was a phenomenal, rare opportunity and experience that I had never felt in my life. See you soon, because life doesn't end here. Oh. Now that was a extract from an article that Andrés Escobar wrote after the exit of Colombia from the 1994 World Cup. Now I have two things to say. That's beautiful, first of all. That's beautiful. We love that. Second of all, these Spanish-speaking countries, they love to say a big hug to everyone. Messi said, I'm like, that's the shittest thing. As not consoling anyone. It translates badly. It doesn't land right with me at all. A big hug to everyone. I saw like Juan Mata say that one time. So a big hug to it. No, but it's beautiful because it's about the respect. Like, the respect must stay. Yeah, that's a big thing, because you're a football coach, and this is what you try and integrate. Correct me if I'm wrong. You try and integrate into your coaching. Absolutely. Yeah, part of my ethos. Yeah, ethos. Let's go with ethos, because I was about to say a big cliche of like coaching philosophy, but yeah, the respect, the responsibility, and the leadership. But starting the respect, I love. But yeah, to reiterate, we're talking about the death of Andrés Escobar. But to understand why Andrés Escobar died, we have to go back to his namesake, Pablo Escobar, to the cartels, and how football became the most dangerous game in Colombia. This podcast will be about two Escobars, one who built Colombian football and the other one who died because of it. But before we get into that, top 5 Spanish-speaking South American players. Or Maradona or Messi? Of course, Messi is, for me, the greatest player to have good at ball. But I think my respect for Maradona is just through the roof in so many aspects. For me, Maradona just encapsulates. And his life is cool. His life, yeah. His achievements, I mean, his legacy at Napoli, I think you're hard-pressed to find a more footballer transcending to God level in anywhere. And it's funny that you say that, because I was in Napoli last summer, and Maradona has more than one church that I went to where there are murals of him inside the church grounds. Yeah, murals of him all over the city. It's absolutely mental. Did you boys watch the Maradona documentary 2019? Yeah, I thought that was a work of art. Yeah, I mean, I've just never seen a footballer hold that. I think arguably even eclipsing Messi. Yeah, or holding that level of kind of worship. Yeah, that he has in Naples. Yeah, especially like the racial element, which doesn't even begin to be talked about. Yeah, like he's basically seen as a second-class citizen in Italy. Yeah, firstly playing for a Southern Italian club, playing in Naples. Yeah, and secondly just his complexion. Yeah, I mean, for me, he encapsulates everything that's great about football, South American football, and it's gone. Big time one. But let's not stray to Argentina. So we're in the first 5. I feel like we've got 1-0 down. Yeah, okay, Messi, Maradona in the top 2. For me, it goes Messi, but then Maradona. And then James Rodriguez has a shout. James, the original wonder kid. But is he top 5? I mean, for what he did. I mean, look at his career as well. Yeah. He's cementing a place at Real Madrid. He's in one of the greatest. Did he cement? Because I feel like he was there for a few seasons, but he wasn't like... I mean, he was one of Zidane's main men, wasn't he, in that team? Yeah. won, what, 3 Champions Leagues?
On the bounce.
Or 4?
Okay, well, maybe he's a dog. Let me get some. Riquelme. I base my game on him because he's actually built your game on. I base my game on him. He's a left-footed, classic number 10. Not very athletic, but just the things he do, the audacity he had. Take on one man, take on two man, play the killer ball, and he could score as well, and he could finish, and he'd take free kicks, and he was just a talisman in the number 10.
I see a top 5. You sold him.
I don't think we can move on without talking about Quadrado. And the fees were already out there in the Colombian. Don't know. Valderrama, who we'll be talking a bit about today. Great haircut.
I think Argentinians in the modern era would be pushing for Di Maria to be on the list. I think his performances at the 2022 World Cup, pretty era of
I think in Bloody Ria, ultimate big game player.
Scored in the World Cup final. Won their penalty again as well.
Yeah,
arguably man of the match in that game.
Yeah.
Arguably more caught than Messi in that game.
And scored the winner in the Copa America as well.
Against Brazil, which is their biggest game by far. I mean, the hatred there is...
but let's talk about Luis Suarez as well.
Luis Suarez will go from there. Luis Suarez. Aguero.
Sure, he's up there.
He's up there.
I love Luis Suarez, man.
And I loved how he was in the last stages of his Liverpool and then Barcelona. When he stepped into that Barcelona team, he took it by scruff of the neck. He was providing so many assists, goals, playing beautiful football, and mugging everyone off at the same time.
Yes, he was a bastard, but it's like top player.
So who have we got? We've got Suarez, Messi, Maradona, Riquelme.
For me, he goes number 4, and it's in Messi, Maradona, Suarez, Riquelme, in that order. Are we missing anyone big?
Well, there's the names like Di Stefano, these Argentinian old legends.
Yeah.
Can't say I've seen much of them myself.
True. So where set the scene. Where are we? We are in Colombia in the 80s.
Okay.
82.
So 82? Question mark.
I'm just talking the 80s in general. So we're gonna set the scene a little bit. So Pablo Escobar, he's moved to Medellin as a young boy, and that's where he would begin to build his empire.
Medellin.
And his ability as a leader saw him turn to a life of organized crime, and basically became the ultimate drug trafficker, leader of the Medellin cartel in the late 70s. And the Medellin cartel became one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world by the 1980s. This is cocaine exploding on the world stage, primarily America. Huge market, and Pablo Escobar feeding that American coke habit and making absolute packets.
No pun intended. Nice. I've been hearing at its height, he spent £25,000 a year on rubber bands to hold his money.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. So, at their peak, his cartel controlled about 80% of the global cocaine trade.
Wow.
And smuggled 70 tons into the US every month. 70 tons every month. Do you know how much that is?
70,000 kilos.
70,000 kilos. How many grams is that? No, not that, isn't it?
7 million grams a month. That's a lot. That's a lot of cashola.
It's a big packet.
So you were saying to me earlier that in the context of governments and power, that he was probably one of the, I want to call him a businessman, but unofficial businessman, one of the richest business owners in the country.
At his height, he was ranked number 9th in the world on the Forbes rich list.
And that's only official, right, as well. I mean, there must be so much just dark money, stored away in safes.
Yeah,
no one knows about it.
Well, it's interesting you say that because his brother claimed that the cartel was making so much money that they had to write off 10% of their earnings each year due to spoilage. We're talking water damage. We're talking, because they're varying the cash, rats getting to it.
And lich. Wow.
and also just simply misplacing the cash. They had so much money they literally didn't know who they were. And was it only cocaine or? You know? Oh, it was primarily cocaine. Primarily cocaine.
That's what goes in Colombia.
But you think cocaine? I don't think at this point cocaine had that sort of those sort of connotations that we attach with it today, as such, because it's quite a new thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And added to that, he was described as the Colombian Robin Hood.
Mm.
Yeah. So how does this relate to the football? So where are we? Why are we talking about Pablo? Well, we're talking about Pablo because he was a big footy head. He loved it. Apparently a baller. So all right. I need to address something here. I'm hearing who's a ball. Listen. I'm not here. To get a picture up. Get a picture of Pablo. No, I'm not. I'm saying this guy's. I'm questioning his fitness. Yeah, I know that he loved ball. I did a bit of research and it was telling me that he's a right-footed. And he liked to play off the left. So, as the best players do. So he's right-footed, liked to play off the left. Now, yeah, is he cutting in and is he banging it or is he whipping it? I can't see him as an attacker primarily. I can see him as a midfielder who will run the game and who will bark instructions to all around him.
I can see defenders being terrified to man marker.
So apparently he was playing on the left. Right. He was like, no, not the right, the left. So he was like, I want to go, I'm playing left. Yeah. Try tell me that I'm not. Right. And yeah, so he was there whipping it top corner. Yeah. But his love for football wasn't just about playing, right? So he funded football pitches in the slums of Colombia. He invested heavily in Colombian football. There was one team that is going to be quite central to this story, Atlético Nacional. He became the majority stake owner, and this wasn't just because of his love of football, although he did have that. It was also because it was the perfect way to launder all this drug money. So certain about the building pitches. But yeah, that's a dream. Yeah.
Was this part of like a wider effort to build himself like a legitimate face, his business? Are these the same years that he was running for president?
I think yeah, and I think this all comes together because I remember that footage of him like on the electoral campaign just throwing out money to crowds. Yeah, and probably in a time where I think Colombia officials pretty corrupt. Yeah,
like,
well, this is the thing. I think his base, because he tried to venture into politics, but ultimately got blocked when his mugshot got released into the public. Right? Get out. It's a great picture. In the villain, get up. There's no on it. His bases were in the working classes of Colombia, and it was due to his Robin Hood attitude. Well, perceived Robin Hood attitude. He had made so much money and he never forgot his roots. He came from working class slums in Medellin, and he dated back, and that included building football pitches and organizing football tournaments for people, for communities to rally around. And I mean, I think we can all have some empathy to that.
Yeah, no, I was listening to a thing, and there was an interview with someone who, as a child, played in these tournaments on these pitches that he'd built. And he was just like, well, look, we were struggling, but we love football. And, but everyone was talking about who had built these pitches. Pablo Escobar. And it was Matt, because like, if you're in a slum in Colombia, then yes, you're going to be wanting to play football, but you're not going to be having a space to play football. You're going to be playing in a bit of wasteland or something like that. Without the right equipment and goals and pitches, and then someone has just built 2 or 3 amazing, beautiful pitches. That's a dream. I guess it's a great segue into showing the impact that Pablo Escobar had on every element of life in Colombia, like generational, no matter the age, no matter the area of society, just like absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't wanna sort of glorify. Yeah, I don't want to glorify because he did a lot of great things. Like beautiful pictures, that's great. It's not the best thing anyone's ever done. He also built some like social housing, and it seemed like he was going for this Robin Hood-esque. He was at these, but look, I think it sets it quite well. At these pictures that he was building, he would go there on the first day and then give a speech like a benevolent mayor. Oh yeah, love you guys, man. This is my gift to you.
It's a fine balance.
It would be purely philanthropic.
There's a lot of fear.
There was a lot of fear. Gosh, there was a lot of
Depths.
Make no mistake, this guy was a menace. He was an absolute menace. We're talking about, I mean, I think one of his most violent, heinous acts was he blew up a commercial airline, killing all 110 people on board to essentially silence the political bureaucracy that were trying to extradite him to America. Wow. So let's make no mistake, this guy was an absolute villain despite his, we can call it philanthropic if we want, but his giving back to his, working class Medellin roots. Thousands of deaths.
His legacy has really lived on, hasn't it? I mean, I feel like you have the American mafia as the idea that's glorified so much, but no single name holds sway like Pablo Escobar does. Like, we're young men growing up in London 50 years on from that, and his name is, no one doesn't know who he is. Like,
and I went to Medellin a couple of years ago now, and it's crazy how this guy was responsible for so much death, but he is glorified. And there are things that, I didn't go on this, but there was opportunities for like a Pablo Escobar walking tour.
Usually, does it purely come from the tourists aspect? I mean, monetize it.
Yeah. Definitely. Probably free. Yeah. I think the popular opinion in Colombia at the moment is this guy, the violence and the disrepute that he caused to the Colombian nation goes far beyond any good that he did. Saying that, it's lit. Saying that, if guys were funding tournaments,
We do that.
it's lit. And he was putting millions of dollars into public housing, millions of dollars into these sums that had nothing. But it's also important to caveat that with the fact that he wasn't really good, but yeah. No. But he had fun. He had a lot of fun. There's a lot of interesting and funny anecdotes that we can go on for forever. But he loved ball, playing on the left, whipping it in with his right. Sometime do the Mbappe, bang it, cut it back into the bottom left.
Before it was the Mbappe, it was the Escobar.
But he's only got one 1v1 attacking trait. No, he's only got one 1v1 attacking movement in him. Okay. Cutting on the right, and whip in the opposed. And if it doesn't come off, someone's getting blamed. That's it. Once he's done that, he's just gonna go and go. He's navigated. He's done. We've got about 2 on there. He's a big boy. That's why I'm questioning this. Okay. So he owned. No, he didn't own. He had the majority stake in this team, Atlético Nacional. Now we should speak a bit about Colombian football at the time, right? So Colombian football, they weren't one of the big boys of South America that we sort of associate them with today. It was dominated by teams like Uruguay, like Argentina, like Brazil. Colombia didn't really come into it. Now, this started to change when the grassroots football was had money pumped into it by Escobar, and also the professional football game. We start seeing the rise of what's called Narcoball, right? So this was drug kingpins from places like Cali and places like Medellin. They were investing in clubs that would completely raise their profile. It would allow them to keep the talent that they produced by giving them higher salaries, and it did absolute wonders for Colombian football.
They were getting international transfers into the leagues at this time when that's actually pretty unheard of.
Yeah.
And he and his crew had big stakes in a lot of teams.
Yeah. So Atletico Nacional was propelled to one of the richest clubs in South America at the time and began to dominate the domestic scene.
In all of South America?
In all of South America. So in 1989, they actually lifted the Copa Libertadores, which is the South American Champions League. Now, I think that's a good segue to get onto our primary subject of this podcast, who was Andrés Escobar. Now, Andrés Escobar was
He's a good guy.
nicknamed the gentleman. He was from a middle-class family in Medellin, left-footed, classy.
Yeah. I'm hearing through the. He was from Medellin, you say.
He was from Medellin.
He was like top prospect.
Yeah.
From young youth player, he was like class player.
And probably played in some of the pitches that Pablo Escobar funded. So it's so interested to see the intersection between these two Escobars.
Yeah, there was actually quite a few pros that came out of those pictures.
Yeah. He signed for Atletico Nacional, and he's a CB, right? Left-footed, classy, technical player. I'm imagining he would get the ball, he would spray it. Classy on the ball, calm on the ball, probably on the left side. At this time, as Atletico Nacional were rising the ranks of Colombian football, he would invite the players to play in these sort of tournaments that he'd set out. And big money would be gambled between two rival drug kingpins like Pablo and like the leader of the Cali cartel and whatnot.
So interesting. It seems like it becomes like this like trend amongst these billionaire Colombians. Similar way to like the Russian oligarchs in the 90s. The same thing happens.
Yeah, well,
So like a trend of, if you have enough money, I think the dumb thing to do, buy a football club in Colombia, probably a legitimate source of income, strengthens your public image, and just say it. So
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because like, if you're getting all this drug money, drug trafficking money, and then you open up a football, you have majority stakes in a football ground and a football team, then you can just be like, cool, ticket prices are going through the roof. We're making so much money off this football.
Yeah.
They're paying $60 a ticket. And it's well.
the books are balanced.
Honestly, we're making so much bread. It is unbelievable. So they were able to wash a lot of that money. And so this is one of Pablo's teams, and Nacional looking to become the first Colombian side to win. So they won the semi-final. Him and Rene, Higuita, a scorpion kick, and so the final is over 2 legs. Which is weird. That's weird. And it's against Olympia, or a Paraguay team. So first leg 2-0 to Olympia of Paraguay,
right?
And in the second game, 2-0 to Nacional, right? Atletico Nacional. So that's gone to pens, right? See, Pablo's in the ground.
Really?
Pablo's in the ground.
Pressure's last pressure.
I'm still nervous, sir. I'm not stepping up. And Andreas, our boy, steps up to take the first pen. Joking.
Shakespeare.
And slots it. He slots it away.
Wow.
Do you know who else takes the pen? Scorpion.
And he slots it. And he slots it.
Back him, to be fair. Sorry, they go on to win the match.
Right.
They're going to win.
They're going to win. They were first time in their history. A Colombian team has won the South American Champions League, the Copa Libertadores. This is huge.
I think this must have been a huge day. And it's a huge day for Pablo Escobar. I think you got to think, for me, my takeaway from this, it sounds like he's playing a long game. He knows this is huge for not just the club, this is huge for the figure he is in Colombia.
It's sort of old.
Is it like another avenue into a whole new level of power?
I think there's worthwhile comparisons to be drawn with Roman Abramovich and there's some of the nations that fund clubs like PSG and clubs like Manchester City. This is political power.
You can imagine the Sheikhs having a party when Man City won the Champions League. Maybe it's not.
But they're not abusing.
Not pleasing. Well,
So for I post those subtly. So I tell you what. After they won this Copa Libertadores, they went back to the crib, the Pablo Escobar crib, the infamous unpack, hippos and all these man. Yeah, but so everyone gets invited back to the crib. They have a fat party.
he does it right. You can imagine it goes for a couple of days.
He does it right at a party.
He does it right. Andrés Escobar plays a huge part in that.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, the players weren't happy with it.
He was one of the big players in that team to bring so much pride to Colombian football. And I think it's worth mentioning that the Colombian population, they turn the blind eye. People from, obviously, Pablo Escobar is quite publicly at the helm. People from the lower classes, people from the middle classes, people from the upper classes, they're turning a blind eye because how gassed are you to have such national pride in the football team that they go on to win the biggest tournament, the biggest club tournament in there, in the continent. So you're thinking, it's black money, but wow, we're so gassed right now. So that's such a great event. Now, fast forward a couple of years now. In 1993, Pablo Escobar is killed by the DEA.
Yeah, how was he killed?
So he was in a mansion in Medellin on the run, and he is cornered by a mixed squad of Colombian drug agents and the DEA and some CIA agents. He was cornered in this house. He tried to escape from the roof, and the mixed force from below.
Oh, really?
He was shot in the leg. He was shot in the legs. He was shot in the arms. He was shot in the head, and
It was the head, is it?
his lifeless body was no more.
Wow.
And it sort of marked the end of an era in terms of Colombian football. But make no mistake, the culture that he had sort of created in terms of the corruption, the drug money and fear in Colombian football was certainly still there, very current.
Yeah, I mean, in 1989, there was a match between two Colombian teams, and there was rumors that referee Alvaro Ortega had been bought off by the other team, right? And Pablo had big stakes in another team, and this just shows the fear and the absolute madness that was going on in this time, because Pablo was like, the ref blatantly robbed us, and he said, find him and kill him, and he was gunned down shortly afterwards.
Jesus.
So this is a ref, and apparently players are hearing about this and they're just like numb. They're just like, what are we in here? This is not on.
I mean, I guess all this comes together in like this storm of put yourself in the mind of a player playing for Colombia in the 1994 World Cup. I mean, we talk about the pressure that players of the England team face now, you know, toxic media, social media, all of that. Jesus, it's not 1/1000 to this. This is a jungle.
Life is on the line.
Life is on the line. If we know it every time they step out.
So we're in 1994 now, World Cup year. The World Cup is being held in the USA, and the mood in the Colombian camp, who have qualified for this World Cup, is high. They just beaten Argentina 5-0 in the last qualifying game. This is considered a golden generation. We're talking Higuita, we're talking Valderrama, and we're talking Andrés Escobar, who has actually propelled himself to being one of the most sought-after defenders in the world. Rumors that after World Cup, he will be signing for AC Milan.
Yeah. So
Huge, but still playing for Nacional at this time. The great Pele had even tipped the Colombians to win the tournament in 1994. I mean, so the World Cup starts. It's held in the USA. Obviously, tensions between USA and Colombia.
Oh, as if it couldn't get any more charged.
So the World Cup is held in the USA. Tensions are high.
Miami-based tournament. Colombia wins, sir. Got streets are hard.
So the first game they're playing Romania. Colombia versus Romania. Surprisingly, a 3-1 loss to Hadjin's Romania. First game, catastrophe. And apparently this opening match plunged the team into a psychological rut.
But Pablo's dead now.
He's been dead for a year or two now, but the culture is still it hasn't. It was the end of an era, of his era, but it definitely wasn't the era of Colombian drug lords' influence over politics, over the economy, and especially over football.
Because the money's still there.
Yeah. Reportedly, after that game, there were death threats sent into the dressing rooms, right?
Still hasn't changed.
So this manifested itself in sinister fashion as a message appeared on the TV screens in the players' hotel rooms, reportedly proclaiming that if this midfielder Gabriel Barabbas Gomez played in the second match, then all the players would be killed.
Jesus.
I mean, what do you do? Head score.
God, imagine that 2024 if Phil Foden starts.
Right, you're not playing. You're not playing, God. You're dropped. But he must have had a stinker.
I think he's had sneaky. He must have had there's a stinker, then there's that. Like, we will kill 30 people if you.
But all is not lost. So, but the tension is mounting. Obviously, the players are trying to screw their heads on after hearing about this. The tension is palpable as the game against none other but the host nation USA approaches.
Terrifying.
The entire squad went into the match with the hand of the Grim Reaper on their shoulder.
The experience. A lot different to sending hugs.
We'll get onto that. Right, so the game starts. Colombia seem a shadow of themselves. They're not the team that once was in the qualifying rounds. Their confidence is low. Their fear is high. 35th minute. USA had the ball down the right wing. And a low cross fired into the box. And who is it but Andrés Escobar to stick out his leg. And it trickles into his own goal, opening the scoring for the ultimate Colombian rivals.
Well, it's an infamous clip, and I can picture it so clearly in my head. And it's one of those chances you always see on a football pitch where, you know, like that ball coming on is so vulnerable, but you know you have to go for it.
Yeah.
If there's an attacker behind you, you don't. It's a goal. But if a goal, it's just as much your fault.
Yeah.
You have to go for it, but it's just so unfortunate. It's like one mistake when in your own net and got the consequences.
This was his first own goal ever. It comes on the biggest stage imaginable. Bear in mind, Colombia have to win this game to have any chance of going through to the next round.
Yeah, because once you lose the first one, there's three group stage matches. Yeah, if you lose the first one, then it's second monkey bum time pressure.
You're already relying on other teams.
Yeah, yeah. So you have to win the second one, and you just scored an own goal. But I can't lie. What can I be a fan at losing to Romania and then going struggling 1-0 down to USA?
It's poor form. Who can you blame him?
And you blame him.
After you seeing that message, if this player plays, you're getting death threats played on your personal TV in your hotel room.
Oh, like hacked.
Yeah.
How did they have a technology for that in 1994?
Oh, that is so low.
Yeah. Days before the next game that you have to win. Colombia end up losing the game 2-1. So it was ultimately that own goal that sent them home. Despite a 2-0 win in their next match, they ultimately go home. And the squad returned home in 26th of June 1994. And just 10 days after Colombia exited the World Cup, Andrés Escobar was gunned down in his car outside a nightclub in Medellin. He'd been shot 12 times at close range, with witnesses reporting the killers shouted, "Go! Go! Go!" after every shot. Which is not. That's not. That's not. So,
Do you think you picture Andrés Escobar's head at full time after losing 2-1 to America? I think he might have seen that in his future.
so interesting, because the speech that I read at the beginning was an open letter to the Colombian nation. That he wrote an article in the newspaper, in a full newspaper. So I'll reread that. "We must be gallant in victory, but much more so in defeat. But please let the respect remain." A big hug for everyone, and tell them there was a phenomenal, rare opportunity, an experience that I never felt in my life. See you soon, because life doesn't end here. But unfortunately for Andrés Escobar, it did.
That's hard, mention. That's. Do you know what that is? That's Steven Gerrard. Boys, we do not let this slip.
Slightly, just like that, he goes and slits. Chelsea, Denver bar, skips through, slots it.
Mignolet scrambling. It's really the first time that comparison, right?
But what a moment. I mean,
How tragic. That must still have such a long-lasting impact in Colombian football. That must be in the mind of every player who ever played for Colombia since.
and plays football. Do you know what, actually? I've done quite a lot of work for an organization called Football for Peace. That's 4 with a number 4, Football for Peace. And they do a lot of work around the world, such as in places that have conflicting communities, and get children to play football with humanist-centered values. Instead of not coaching the football, facilitating football, but actually making sure that you hone in the coaching, what you actually say, on stuff like respect, responsibility, inclusion, trust, and equity. Now, they do it in places like Northern Ireland, like North Korea, South Korea, on the border there. But yeah, they did it. They do it in Colombia as well. They run camps there in Colombia, but they can't do football. They can't do. In every other country, football's fine, and that's what gets the kids to come, because that's the hook. Kids just want to play football, and if they've got a load of balls and a load of coaches, and they'll say, "Let's go play some matches."
Yeah.
But they can't do it in Colombia because football is so tied up with drug trafficking money and all the death and threats and all this stuff that comes with it. They can't do it, so they have to do it in rugby.
Really? It's just a company policy that will never happen in Colombia? Or are they being told by authorities?
No, it's a bit of both, yeah.
Wow.
It's a bit of both. But I think it's a strategic move because football does not equate to peace in Colombia at all.
That's so interesting.
It's not compatible with peace because of the context that so many people have died, so many people's lives have been torn apart because of football, and how directly related that is to drug trafficking, and of a drug that has ruined many people's lives throughout the world, but I'm sure in Colombia as well. So the context behind this assassination was there were 2 brothers called the Gayon brothers, who were known drug traffickers in Medellin. Are they big dogs, or?
I think they're coming up.
Okay.
They're coming up. And they had hundreds of thousands of pounds that they had gambled on Colombia reaching next round. And obviously, Andrés Escobar's own goal had cost them this amount of money, so they were vexed. And they twins. I think they were just brothers. They're just riling each other up. It wasn't them who pulled the trigger, but it was reportedly their bodyguard, who was sentenced to 40 years in prison for this murder, but only served 11 years, which is pretty heartbreaking if you're the family, because
I mean, imagine, I think there's a quote from the father. He says, there is no justice in Colombia. Which, I mean, if your darling boy has just been killed for footballing mistake so brutally, and first of all, the real people responsible don't get any justice, and the person who actually pulled the trigger only is out in 11 years. How do you feel? I mean, it's gut-wrenching stuff. Many say that if Pablo Escobar was alive at this point, Andrés Escobar would not have been killed, because Pablo Escobar was the ultimate kingpin, ultimate big boss, and could control, in a way, the other. He wouldn't have let it happen. Or if it did happen, they knew that serious consequences would be coming.
Do you think, is that a moral thing, or is that because he was one of his, connotated with his team with nationality?
I mean, there's probably differing theories about that, but
I can imagine it's bad for business. Like, it doesn't look good.
it's definitely bad for business. But Pablo Escobar is a really weird, contradictory guy, because on the one hand, he is moral, as we discussed at the start, because he gives back and he looks after his community. But on the other hand, he is a brutal businessman.
I'm not a killer.
He's not afraid to kill to further his political and economic gain.
But so going forwards, what happened next?
So Escobar's funeral was attended by over 120,000 people.
Wow.
So it's huge outpouring of grief in Colombia. They stood by their man. And footballer Escobar, yeah. Andrés and Escobar, yeah.
One of the best defenders in the world.
Yeah.
One of the Colombia's best players.
And it motivated many players to quit the national team, with some even retiring from football out of fear. His dad, Dario Escobar, later said he was dedicated to the sport. He never caused anyone any problems. Then they killed him for nothing.
Powerful. Almost taking the team decades to come back from this. Absolutely. I mean, they had their unifying Copa America Cup run, which must have had to be so much more emotionally charged than it looks from the outset. People that don't know the story as well. I'm sure a figure like James Rodriguez.
Did they win it?
They won in
They won it recently.
2019, didn't they? Yeah, I believe. Or 19, maybe. I think they beat Chile in the final.
Right.
I believe. I have some Colombian cousins who are very, very happy about it.
But it's interesting to think about how, going back to the original point about the sort of money that's in Colombian football has never hit the heights again that it saw in the days that it was being invested in heavily by these drug lords. So it's such a contradictory and nuanced sort of story, especially when we're talking about Pablo Escobar, how he created the golden age in the football, but that was so wrapped up in murder, in corruption, in bribery. And I wonder how Colombians feel about that. I mean, maybe we should wrap up there. Thoughts, impacts, legacies? What do we think?
Long-reaching impacts. I'm sure in Colombia it's still felt so poignantly today. It's a very emotional story.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep thinking about his last words that were broadcasted to the public. See you soon, because life doesn't end here.
It's damning for the whole of Colombian football. Definitely. And for like
trying to build and move forward. It doesn't help anything, and it's really it's not ideal. It's tragic. Just as it is. But I think we're at an end. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us on this little journey of where football interacts with crime. Yeah.
I'm really happy to be better informed on that topic.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me, Wes.
Yeah. Gabs, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
Hope to be back soon.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, for those who did. And yeah, we'll see you soon. We'll be back next week.
blessings.